What's up, everybody? It's Matt. Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I've got my gear on, and I was hoping this was going to be like, yeah! Kind of like how it was when we went to the Final Four, but not so much this time. However, I wanted to make this vlog because I wanted to say, one, congratulations to the Purdue Boilermakers. This year's men's basketball team was just, that brought so many emotions as they went through this NCAA tournament and even the season. I mean, what an amazing season they had. Counting last night, I think only 4 or 5 losses this whole season. Unheard of. Matt Painter got to see his first, Matt Painter got to coach in his first Final Four. Very well deserved. Just so we're kind of going to go over everything, just kind of recap the season. And so this is basically going to be unedited. It's unscripted. Nothing. I'm just talking. That's all I'm going to do. Just chat for about the next 10-15 minutes. So here we go. For one, though, again, congratulations, Purdue Men's Basketball Team. You all kicked ass this year. I know it didn't end how we all wanted it to. Believe me, I was so hoping that, we were going to celebrate a national championship. And the thing is you get so hyped up because when they beat Tennessee to go to the Final Four, I mean, I had never experienced that, ever. That was a first. And so, you watch them hoist the regional trophy above their heads, and we're going to the Final Four, and then you get to the Final Four, and then you beat NC State. Now you're in the national title game, and they just ran out of gas. I mean, Uconn, I'm going to say this, Uconn is a very tough basketball team. In fact, it's my belief, I'm not taking away anything from Uconn, but had they gotten beat at any other point during that tournament, I feel like Purdue plays anybody else, they win that game. I mean, Purdue had a rough game, though, when you think about it. They shot, 1 for 2 on 3-pointers, which that's their MO. Uconn shut that whole thing down. And then Edey had 37 points of Purdue's 60. So there were some breakdowns there. The offense didn't play that well. The other problem was they played right with Uconn. Purdue had a run they put together. I mean, they had a lead. They had a lead right at the start of the game. I think it was like 9-4 or 9-5 or something like that. And then it got tied up, and it went back and forth, and then they got another lead, and then it got tied up, and then it went back and forth, and then Uconn built a 6-point lead at half, and then after half, man, they just kept going. And then Purdue, though, I will say this team this year never stopped fighting. I mean, they really didn't. Years past, you probably saw it fold up, and they'd be like, whatever. But I tell you, man, they fought to the very end. In fact, Uconn had so many of their starters in foul trouble. I thought for sure that this is how it's going to happen. They're going to foul all their starters out, and they're going to have to play with the bench, and then Purdue's going to get a leg up. But it didn't happen that way, but it was really close. Like that Samson, whatever his name was, he fouled out. Kling, yeah, that guy, big tall guy. He was real close. I think he had 4 fouls. Klingen, that's his name. And then a bunch of others, And then, of course, it's typical. Anybody that's a Purdue fan knows that whoever they play could have a player or players that average like 3 or 4 points a game for like the last 4 years of their college career. And for some reason, when they play Purdue, they score 30 points. That happened the other night. They were talking about this one guy that, in the first few minutes had 7 points, and the guy that hadn't scored, he averages 6 all year. So it just, Purdue runs into some dumb luck like that from time to time. But I tell you, though, what a tournament, what a series. It starts to become an emotional roller coaster. It really does, because from the start of the season, Purdue had some fantastic wins this year. They won the Maui Invitational. They beat teams like North Carolina. They beat Duke. They beat Alabama. They beat Arizona. They beat Gonzaga. Beat Gonzaga twice this year. And then the Big Ten schedule. The Big Ten's a tough team or a tough conference. And with the addition next year of these new teams, it's going to be even tougher. For those that don't know, the Big Ten's going to add USC, UCLA, Washington, and Oregon to the mix. So Big Ten conference going to have like 16 teams. It's awesome. So we're going to have our work cut out for us, and the Big Ten is never easy to play in. Anybody at any given time can beat anybody in the Big Ten. That's the one thing about that conference. And everybody's like, oh, the Big East. Yeah, they win a lot of titles. I'm not going to say they don't. But the Big Ten's, they're so close. They really are. They just got to get over that hump. And I think, Purdue's returning a bunch of seniors, or not seniors, but they're returning a bunch of people next year. They're losing Edey, and that's really about it. I think Mason Gillis is coming back. Kaufman Wren is due to come back. Fletcher Lawyer, I think, is coming back. A couple others, I have to look at the full roster, but yeah, there's a lot of experience returning next year. They just got to figure out how to replace Zach Edey, because let's face it, it's kind of hard to replace a guy that's 7'4" and averages 30-some points a game. I mean, that's a big time deal. So, Maverick scratching at the door. He's not too happy that I got it closed right now. But anyway, any of you that are sports fans know what it's like to go on a ride with your team, especially when they start doing really well. And then when you get to tournament time, it's like, especially in March Madness, the first two, you're like, okay, we're in the Sweet 16. Awesome. Once you start getting past the Sweet 16, then it starts to be like, oh, crap. Okay, now the Elite Eight. You win the Elite Eight. Now you've won won the regional championship. You're hoisting that trophy, and now you're on your way to the Final Four. You win that, and now you're in the final game, the national title game. There's no more games after this. Like, this is it. No best of 7, no nothing else. This is it. This is everything. And it makes it so freaking exciting, but also, if you don't win, I was trying to figure out, losses suck either way, but is it worse to lose that first game of the Final Four? Like when Purdue and NC State game and Alabama and Uconn played, NC State and Alabama, is it worse to lose that game? Because then you're like, damn it, we were only one away from going all the way, and who knows what would have happened. Or does it suck more to lose this one, but knowing there's no more games after today, like you literally gave it all and left it out there on the court? I mean, I'm not really sure. But it stings either way. I wasn't... leading up to this, I kept saying, win or lose, this is going to be a fantastic game and a great experience. And it was, but man, that loss sucks, because especially when you see the other team on the floor, confetti flying, they're hoisting that big old trophy above their heads, like, that could have been us. We were so close. But I was happy, though, for Gene Cady and for him to be able to see that, because when I was at school at Purdue, Coach Cady, he was still the head coach there. I mean, basically in the last... 60 years or whatever it's been, Purdue's only had like 2 coaches, Gene Cady and now Matt Painter. Like that's really impressive when you think about it. And I know last year, myself included, we were all ready to throw Painter like out to the street and be like, we got to start over again. I mean, you take a team like Purdue and lose to Fairleigh Dickinson, what in the world? But things happen, and honestly, that same scenario could have happened last night. Purdue could have caught a hot streak. Uconn could have went ice cold. It was the other way around. Purdue they couldn't their rebounding sucked, which was normally their strong point. Uconn just kept getting all the bounces, and you know how that goes when you're a sports fan and you're cheering. There's always that team that just everything goes their way, and it's just luck. That's sports. I mean, that's how it works. There's just times when no matter what you do, shit don't go your way. And it's so aggravating because some of them Uconn guys were, like there was one where the guy's falling forward. He's practically airborne. He literally just heaves the ball over his head, not even looking at the basket. It just went in. And like, well, what can you do at that point? There's nothing you can do. But really, though, Purdue missing their 3-ball really hurt because they were and are the best 3-point shooting team in the country. And when you take that out of the equation, that hurts. And then, of course, down the stretch, when Uconn was up by 7 or 8, all of a sudden their guys start draining threes. And, before long, it gets out of hand. But like I said, though, they never stopped fighting. Purdue always kept scrapping and scrapping. And you just kept thinking, like, they're going to crawl back into this. They're going to crawl back into this. And a few times they almost did. So I got to give them all kinds of credit for that. Because, that's the sign of no matter what. You never quit because you never know. I've experienced that in my own personal life where, both in sports and just in general life, when you feel like you're down and out, there's always that one little thing that comes through and it's just enough you grab a hold of it, and next thing you know, you're on this amazing comeback, but you just have to keep grinding and grinding and grinding, and you don't stop until that clock hits double zeros. And it's a good life lesson. It was fun, too, to follow a lot of the Facebook posts. A lot of my friends that I knew, both from Purdue and also back with the fire department, a lot of them went out there and just, everybody chit-chatting back and forth. It was like a small reunion, basically. And also with the family. My mom, my brother, my dad, my uncles, aunts, the whole family almost went to Purdue. Or no, I mean our whole family, almost our whole family, like almost everybody went to Purdue. Like we all went there. It's like a big legacy in the family to go to Purdue. And, so we're all, in this thing together, watching this and just, texting back and forth because I couldn't get home. I had actually looked at flights to try to get back home to Indiana, but it was going to be like almost somewhere between $800 and $1,200 to do so. So that wasn't going to work. But it was great, though, to share that with everybody. And just that experience, we were all back and forth on the text messages and everything. And then on TV, they kept showing Mackey Arena, which is where Purdue plays. They opened Mackey Arena up, and the students filled it, and they were watching the national title game on the big screens in the stadium. So what a cool ride that was. And for me, I'm a big fan of listening to sports and stuff, especially my favorite teams. I like listening to it on the radio. I'm old school like that. I think that's from growing up with my grandfather, my dad, my uncles, my other grandparents. Everybody always listened to sports on the radio. And so for me, it paints a picture in my head. And I just like listening to the guys that are calling your team because they're clearly invested in it, and you got the excitement, you got the thrill of it. Like, when Purdue's basketball announcers, when they hit a 3-point, it's triple time, you can't beat that. And so it's just, I loved hearing that. Plus, all the ads from back home, like advertising for companies in Monticello and Lafayette and all that. And it's a little piece of being back home. So what I did was I actually timed up the radio broadcast exactly with the TV broadcast, so it was like they're parallel to each other, so it worked out brilliantly. And I did every game like that, so that was fun. I really enjoyed that. So once again, and again, you go on this ride and you're just like, oh my gosh, we were so close, so freaking close. I woke up this morning and I'm just like, oh, it stings so bad. But it is sports, and that's how it goes. It's like they said, what was it? Herb Brooks said on Miracle, he goes, we play them 10 times, they might win 9, But I liked how he said, he goes, not this one, not tonight. Like, that was such a good motivational speech, like, that kind of fit last night. Same thing if anybody's ever seen the movie Hoosiers. That's a lot what this felt like, Granted, Purdue's a big school, but it just was so cool to see, a school I went to along with my family and everybody go to play for the national title. We've dreamed about that for a long time. I mean, even as a student there, the best we did was the Elite Eight. I've seen a couple of Elite Eights with Purdue, but I've never seen the Final Four and beyond. So that was incredibly exciting. Now that it's over, I'm going to get myself some Final Four gear in that, and I'll always remember this. But what I'm hoping for in the coming years, especially with making the title game, is, Purdue's going to recruit very well, I would imagine. And Painter's obviously not going anywhere. They're going to keep him around for a while. And, who knows? Who knows what could happen? In 2 years, the Final Four is back in Indianapolis, which apparently the NCAA loves Indianapolis as a home site. Like, they do a very good job with the Final Four. So just maybe, they'll play the Final Four back home in Indy. Because I'll tell you, they played their first couple games in Indy, the rounds 1 and 2, and it was like a home game. Even in Arizona, I was looking at some of the photos some of my friends posted on Facebook and even on TV. There was so much black and gold in that stadium. I mean, they were saying it's about 80% Purdue fans that were there. So we do travel well when our teams are kicking ass. Even to bowl games. Purdue fans will travel in mass to the bowl games for football. So, again, awesome season. I hate that it's over because it was so much fun. And when sometimes I mentioned this the other day when Purdue won to go to the Final Four, when sometimes when things in your regular life aren't going so well, things like this happen. Your sporting team, your favorite sports team wins and starts, winning big, like going towards a championship, and it's just those couple hours of the day that give you something a little extra to focus on and put the other crap out for a little bit, and then it just gives you that extra boost. It's something that, and I think that's why I love sports. It ebbs and flows. You sometimes you're winning on a winning streak and you can't get beat. Other times, you can't win a game for anything. But when you do win, and when you have a team that you stick with, and they start winning, it is a lot of fun. And that's what I love about it. Through thick and thin, we've always been Purdue fans. And Tennessee fans out there, I'm sorry I had to go against you guys a couple weeks ago, but I said that at the Tennessee football game when I was at, hey, I'm a Vol through and through, but not when they play my Boilermakers. I got it. It's black and gold all the way, or gold and black. But I tell you, Tennessee gave Purdue a great game too. That was excellent. I'll never forget that, sitting at Epcot listening to that game and hearing, Purdue's going to the Final Four. The guys on the Purdue radio network were going crazy. Well, I put the phone over the top of the microphone so everybody could hear that. We share that moment together. So that was awesome. But anyway, thank you again, Boilermakers, for a fantastic season. Thank you, Coach Painter. Thank you all for not folding in after last season and come back and just kicking ass. As they say, remember this one. Remember what it feels like. It's just like in real life. You suffer, you get right there to the edge and you just have a little setback. When you get back there again, always remember that, and then you work just a little bit harder. It's like Purdue's motto, 1 brick higher. We'll do it 1 brick higher. That was when they rebuilt one of the halls was damaged or something like that, and they rebuilt it, and that was the theme. We're going to build it 1 brick higher. So we just keep on going, and I tell you, that first home game next year, or later this year, November, is going to be an exciting one to be at, because they're going to raise all the championship banners. We got the Big Ten championship banner. We got the regional champion banner, and I think there is one for the game they were in. I think, don't get me wrong, but regardless, they got a couple banners they're going to raise when we get back home. It would have been nice to raise a national title banner. Purdue hasn't won a national title in the NCAA tournament category. The last time they won the national championship was 1932, and the NCAA, the field of the big NCAA tournament, hadn't been formed just yet. It was under a different name. So they have won 5 national titles apparently, but none in the time frame of the current format they're in. So, but with the team they got, the talent they got, the returning seniors and sophomores, juniors, everybody that's coming back next year, and with this recruiting class, I'm very excited. Now it's on to football. Purdue football, actually, they have the black and gold game this weekend at Ross-Ade Stadium to get ready for the upcoming season, give the fans something to cheer about. And August 30th, game number 1 against Indiana State at Ross-Ade Stadium at Purdue. So as we move into the fall, I want to go to a few Purdue games and even a Tennessee game, actually, and we'll show you that. So great job, guys. Again, thank you very much. I couldn't have asked for a better season, honestly. It was absolutely fantastic. So we will see you all in the fall. I can't wait. As we all say, Boiler up, hammer down. Let's go get them again, fellas. I'll see ya.